whatever time you've had to maybe review what your group did over the course of the year? Like, how did you, maybe in retrospect, look at that?
That's a great question. I think anytime you go to the bowl, you kind of do that, especially the 2 bye weeks late. We did get a chance to kind of look back and self-scout. And I think, we certainly were a group that meshed as the year went on. Had a decent performance at the start of the year against an FCS opponent, but and played pretty well against Kansas, to be honest with you. And then the game that kind of sticks in your craw is Central Michigan, right? A team we should have probably blown out more a little bit than we did. We did not play well up front that game and moved around. They did a bunch of movement and stuff, and I thought we responded well against Nebraska. Played really a pretty good game. Looking back on that game against Nebraska, we were very physical in that game and kind of wore them down late. And you played kind of Penn State and Oregon and some of those teams, and you kind of want some of those things back. But there are other times where there's some good examples of some stuff, right? And you get into certain situations, right, where some things kind of went awry. But you look back at the Michigan game, you look back at the way we kind of controlled the line of scrimmage against Michigan State and some of the defensive stuff that they were doing. Even going back and watch the Rutgers game, in the run game, some of their pressures that they were bringing are really things to stop the run. And I thought some of our guys did a good job picking those up, especially late in the game. They cover zero pressures and things like that. We were able to execute. And then obviously Northwestern was kind of a field day up front. We really, I thought, dominated the line of scrimmage up front. So looking back, I thought there's a couple games you want back, of course. I do think that unit meshed pretty well. I thought we had some performers that were pretty good at times and others that are, inconsistent. But if you look at every position, that's probably true at every position, even some of our best players, even a Pat Bryant or Luke Altmaier. You can say the same thing about J.C. Davis, Melvin Priestley, right? Those guys. But for the third year in a row, over 4 guys with, all Big Ten honors. So it's a pretty big feather to put in their cap and to continue to build on. And we get a lot of those guys back. So,
Bart, is there something specific about maybe you don't agree with this assessment, but after the second bye week that maybe clicked with you guys, especially with what you were doing up front in the run game?
Well, I think we went back and looked at what we were really good at and what we had success at, and we stopped doing kind of like little things that maybe weren't our specialty, right? Or we maybe didn't mesh well with. Like year one with Doug Kramer and Vidarian Lowe, we were a much better outside zone team, right? And we could run the ball a little bit different than we do with these guys, right? We're very good at inside zone. We're very good at some of the counter stuff and things of that nature. And each year is going to have differences like that, right? We do kind of hang our hat on some certain concepts, but I think we went back and looked at what was the most efficient, what we were really sound at, and some of those things that we were, in the upper 60s or low 70s with efficiency. That's a phenomenal concept. And so we said, let's focus on those things as opposed to kind of dabbling in a variety of different areas, right? And we kind of eliminated some of the, not so much the auxiliary runs, but the game plan schemed runs, right? The stuff that you see on film that, that looks good, and this team did it or this team did it, we should be able to do that, right? Well, that's not really what we do, right? And so we kind of went back to, it's not less creative, it's being creative to find the stuff we do, right? To add some creativity to the stuff we already do. And so we really kind of shifted our focus on that, and I think you saw kind of the resurgence really in the reliability of the run game late in the games and in those wins, and that's how you take on a team like Michigan. Obviously didn't have the year they were probably planning on, but that didn't change how good they were up front, and our guys played pretty well at those spots. So
even without Kyle Kennard, South Carolina has a pretty good defensive front. What have you seen on film from them? What's some challenges?
Well, they're incredibly gifted across the board. Obviously, Kennard, was the most decorated defensive player in the country. Six on the other side is just as talented, their interior is very talented as well. They do a lot of games and run fits and run movements. They do a TN game and things of this stuff that they kind of pick your center and do a bunch of things like that can give you a hard time running the football. And then they're talented in the back end. There's really not a weakness on the defense. So we've got our work cut out for us, and it's going to be a hard. They're going to play physical. They're going to come in talking after about how they finish the year, and they're in a top conference. We're in a top conference, and it's what a great matchup in the Citrus Bowl.
Obviously, JC now has a decision to make, and Brett said he's made his pitch to him. So what has he meant to you guys this season, and what more do you think you could unlock with him if the chance opened itself for them?
Well, that's a great question. I mean, it's hard to place value on one season with a kid because and put a value on him with just as a football player, but as just a man. JC is an unbelievable man. High character, incredibly hard work ethic, and those are probably two of the highest, I think, compliments you can give a man is a guy that works tremendously hard and shows up to work every day. He's dependable, right? And people rely on him, and he steps up. And just what a blessing he's been to our team, to our room, and up until 5 days ago or whatever it was, we were going to watch him go down to the Senior Bowl and watch him hopefully get drafted and have a great NFL career. Now he does have a decision to make, but for him, just want the very best for him. He's a tremendous football player too, right? And he's given us kind of a lockdown left tackle spot, really, and we didn't have to really worry about that position all year, or even Luke's blind side all year. And he did a phenomenal job in protection. And I think you saw him get better and better and better in the run game as the year went on. And of course, like that block at Northwestern, I mean, that's something off of a movie, right? And that's kind of the joke, is that blindside movie, right? But just a phenomenal human being, phenomenal football player. Really, I think we can continue to help him develop, but at the same time, he's got a bright future. So really excited for him, and he does have a choice to make.
How do you guys handle that when you guys are obviously in the market for a left tackle, but now all of a sudden this door could open? How do you shift on a dime there and kind of reevaluate what's in front of you?
Well, I think, twofold. You got to look out what's best for his interest as well. And so, as his coach, as a guy that I work with him every day, and the trust we have, our discussions will be about what's best for him. And sometimes, those may be different conversations, but, we also are looking to improve our team and fill holes, and we got to develop some young guys too, and some of those guys that have a lot of talent. Obviously, Brandon Henderson has some position flex. Melvin Priestley played left side at Grambling before he got up here, and Brandon Hanson's been the number 2 there at this spot all year. So we've got a lot of guys, that are, that's part of being a developmental program too, is giving those guys a chance to show what they can do in spring, and then this portal changes almost on the hour, right? And so to comment on it, to talk about it, it's almost a fool's errand, because it just could change. It could change in the next 5 minutes, So we'll always continue to look at everybody in the portal. We'll always look at the options to make our team better, and maybe they're in-house, and maybe we have to go outside to get them. So you're always kind of evaluating.
On the flip side, to JC, I think about a week ago we thought this was going to be Zai's last college football game. And he's in the portal, but he's also here helping you guys finish this out. On a personal level, is there anything that hits you with that? Is that, hey, I started this with you and I want to finish it?
Yeah, and that was, I think, the way he took it, and the way I took it as well, and just incredibly proud of him. He means the world to me as a man, and just to what he went through, his time here, the ups and the downs, and to him to just have the attitude that he's had and work ethic. Like, we made that change before Purdue, and he shows up to work every day and practices every day, practices hard today, and just still has to have the maturity to have a conversation with you, and he's got a bright future too. Who knows where he'll land, but certainly told him I'd help him any way I can.
With Zai leaving, what's the depth look like? And who are some of those maybe look team guys that you saw this year that have a chance to take a leap in spring ball?
The depth is, I guess, ever changing, but we do have 7 of the 10 travelers returning, right? I mean, we've got quite a few guys coming back, which we're excited about. So there's a lot of young guys that got a little taste this year and have a chance to really step up, right? And Brandon Henderson is obviously one that comes to mind right away at a variety of different spots, but Brandon Hanson, is another guy in there. TJ McMillan, obviously, has been in a reserve role for a while, but has played in certain packages. And, Des Schuster really finished his first year with us, and a guy that worked his way up starting on the look team and is now in the 2 deep, right? And then you got some young guys over there. There's a handful of those guys, and we got some freshmen coming in at mid-year. And kind of excited. There's a couple non-scholarship guys that have done well. Zach Barrett has done really well, local kid and a Chicago kid. And so we're excited about what's kind of on the future, but obviously the new age of college football is there is going to be some reloading every year, and that is different for everybody that knows this sport, right? And it's changed in the last year or so, or changed in the last however long, but it's a different landscape now, and so that's what we're going to have to do every year.
might not be surprising that Justin might want this one a little bit more than everybody else in your building. Is what has he specifically brought this year? I know that it's just one of 10 assistants and whatever, but it just seems like from an energy standpoint, from everything you could put into 1 year, what has he brought to your room and your building and your workplace?
Well, just as a person, as a man, as a colleague, a tremendous amount of professionalism, of energy, right? That's a good word to describe, but guy's unselfish. He works incredibly hard, makes a conscious effort to build relationships, not only with the staff but with players, right? And he's got a great relationship with most of the linemen, right? And how many coaches outside maybe of your direct kind of contact group have that, right? With a different position group. So just he's been a welcome addition to the room. He's made us better. Great colleague and just an awesome dude, an awesome guy. So he added a lot of value, not only to the field but to the chemistry of the staff as well. And then his guys perform. I mean, Pat Bryant had an unbelievable year, and Zachary Franklin had an unbelievable year, and Colin Dixon and some of those guys. I mean, we had a really good offense, and we were able to throw the ball pretty effectively, and that has to do with step.
Can you remember me who's the knockdown winner this year?
Josh Kreutz won it. He's currently sitting at 97. I will count the bowl game, so he has a chance to break Isaiah's from last year. He would have to have an unprecedented day to break his year, 2022 year, but he's already passed Doug, and he's on track to beat Isaiah's from 23. So
has he stepped into what you had hoped he would be coming into this season in terms of dominance? I think was the word you used.
I think he's getting there. I think he had a much better year than he did the year before. So year two, obviously his captainship, he took that very seriously. And so the leadership, I was very pleased with his leadership. I was pleased with the way he finished. I thought he finished well, finished blocks well. I think there are times where from a technique standpoint we can improve some things, but again, having one more year with him is going to be awesome. A third-year center, a guy that commands everything up front. I'm really excited about what we could do together.